Hi, I'm Hannah, and I am the seamstress behind the cottagecore and fantasy brand Made Marion. I'm fairly new to YouTube, so I thought I'd introduce myself over here so you know who I am. Hi, hello. The point of this channel was to kind of give you a look behind the curtain into a small business owner. Hi, hello. I am a CEO. I do all my photography. I sew everything myself. I do all my own social media. I'm a one-woman show, so I figured this would be a great way to kind of show you what it looks like to be me and answer a couple of questions that I had posted on my Instagram and just give you a little look-see. Who is she? Who is she? What is Maid Marion? I don't even know. What is that? Well, I'll tell you, I make cottagecore and fantasy inspired clothing, a lot of bodices and dresses, capelets, and things like that are size inclusive. And I like to pick fabrics that are beautiful and unique, something that really inspires and adds a touch of whimsy to your closet. A lot of the items that I make are reversible because I believe that you should have things in your closet that have more than just one use. That's really important to me. And everything is made by hand, by me, sourced by me, and made by me. If you'd like to follow along with my journey, you'll get a behind the scenes look at what I do each day. The channel is a way for me to kind of push my boundaries in interacting with newer audiences, and it gives me a chance to gush a bit about the things that I really love and care about. So if you're interested, follow along. So I asked over on my Instagram if there was any questions they wanted me to answer, and I got a mix of some business ones and some personal ones, so I'm going to be answering those for you guys today. First question is, how did I start my business? That's a great question. I started Made Marion about 3.5 years ago, and I really began this whole process because I saw a need for something and I wanted to kind of fill that gap. I am a mid-sized person, so I'm right in between the regular sizing and the plus sizing. And so I really saw kind of this gap in the fantasy clothing space where there weren't as many options for plus size people. And as someone who's always felt very uncomfortable trying to shop or buy things, I wanted to kind of just bridge that gap a little bit. I wanted to make things that I wanted to wear. And that started off as just trying things out for myself. And it moved very quickly into, wait, other people want this too. Maybe I should sell these. I started off selling bodices, like the one that I'm wearing. It's soft, it's reversible, it has no boning in it, so you don't have anything digging in if you want more of a comfortable structure, and it laces up the front. Ta-da! I just wanted to make something that I would want to wear. And as I shared that with other people, I realized other people wanted that too. So that's how Maid Marion got started. How did the name Maid Marion come about? Well, when you hear it, it sounds like Maid Marion, like from Robin Hood. And for me specifically, the foxy Robin Hood, hence why my logo has a little fox in it. But more importantly, Marion, spelled a little bit differently, take out the A, add an O, is my middle name and also the name of my grandmother, who was an amazing seamstress. She taught my mom, who taught me. Marion was an amazing lady. She was always busy, cared about everyone around her. She would make wedding dresses for the women in her life, for the girls in her neighborhood that she had grown up around and babysat for, and now we're getting married. She taught my mom a lot of the basics, and then when I was younger, my mom taught me, and I didn't really enjoy sewing when I was younger, but I carried that through. And my grandmother, Marion, was a huge inspiration for me, and obviously, she's my namesake. And so I wanted to incorporate that kind of the fantastical and the whimsical of Maid Marion from Robin Hood with Made by Marion, me. So that is how the name came about. You drink a lot of coffee. What's your favorite coffee concoction? I do actually. I drink a lot of coffee. I'm almost done with this one today. I share my coffees over on Instagram a bit, but I don't like to spend out a lot of money for coffee shops, and so I make them all myself. I like to make a nice latte, no matter what the weather is. It's cold and dreary outside, but I don't care. I'm just drinking a plain Jane coconut iced coffee today, but I do like to get really fancy with it. Some of the ones I've been obsessed with lately is I made a raspberry almond syrup that came out so good. I also love a toasted marshmallow syrup. I recently made a strawberry Pop-Tart themed iced coffee, and it was so good. It was so good. So I just like to play around and have fun with it. How old were you when you first learned to sew? Well, my mother taught me when I was around 10-ish, maybe 12, somewhere around there. And my first ever project that I ever made was I made a vest for my grandmother, for Marion. And it was very bad. It was not well made at all. I did not know what I was doing. And sewing back then, I hated the idea of it. I thought that all you ever could sew was regular clothing, and that seemed very boring to me. I was way more interested in my mom's fabric stack, which happened to have the most beautiful bolt of velvet fabric. And I just remember thinking, now, if I could make a cape from this, I would be happy, or some sort of costume. And but back then when I was 10 or 12, it was not a time. I was not enjoying it, but my mom was like, "Well, you're going to learn." And I'm very grateful for that. That taught me the building blocks for what I needed to know later in life when I started sewing professionally. What is your favorite product to make? Well, that's tough. I really love everything that I make. Probably these bodices that I make, like the one that I'm wearing right now. They're really fun and they lace up at the front, so they add a little bit of whimsy, but you can also wear them with like everyday wear. So you can wear them. I've worn these bodices with dresses or skirts, but also with like jeans and a little blouse. And I just love that they're so versatile. You can really play with them. All of the bodices that I make are reversible. That's something that I wanted to do when I first started. I wanted an item that could be used multiple ways, not just in one singular way. So, for example, this bodice has the Woodland Twilight pattern on it, designed by yours truly. And then the opposite is just a plain green. I don't know if you can see that right there. It's just a plain green. So if I wanted something a little bit more simple, or if I had a patterned dress and that I wanted to pair a bodice with, I could just flip it inside out. And there you go. The reason I love sewing bodices so much is because they're comfortable and they're fun. I get to use all of these fun fabrics and patterns. And so every time I make a bodice, it's usually from a different fabric, and I'm working on a couple different orders at the same time. And it's fun to work with each individual pattern and color scheme and matching thread, matching lining. And it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. I also really love sewing. I have a dress in my shop called the Florentine dress. Here's a picture of it. It's very much inspired by kind of this Italian Renaissance-esque a little bit. It's a two-piece with the satin chemise underneath and then a jacquard like overdress that laces up the fronts. That one is so much fun to make just because the fabric is so beautiful. It's nice and thick and has like this beautiful woven texture that I just am obsessed with. It does take a long time to make this dress. It takes me about 10 to 12 hours, but it is a lot of fun. And I just love to see people wear them because you can't not feel like a princess in this dress. And that's kind of the whole point. What are my favorite films? Well, when I'm sewing, I watch a lot of YouTube and TV shows and movies, and I rewatch, I think, probably every Jane Austen book adaptation into movie or show about 3 or 4 times each a year. Think of that this way. There are 3 big adaptions of Emma, and I watch each of them about 3 or 4 times a year, and that's just Emma. So then you have to think about the Pride and Prejudice and Northanger Abbey and Persuasion, and it gets to pile up very quickly. I watch a lot of those. Also a big fan of Lord of the Rings, of course. I love Ever After. That story just gets me every time. I could watch it on repeat and never get tired. I also watch a lot of Criminal Minds and Castle and Bones. I don't know what's wrong with me, but it's either whimsical, fantasy, beautiful, or murder and mayhem. It just is what it is, okay? What other hobbies do I have besides sewing? Oh my gosh, I'm a very busy person. I do a lot. I love to read and I also write. I love disc golfing. There's a park right around the corner from me that I like to disc golf at a lot. It's a really great pastime, gets me outside, gets me moving, but then I can get really competitive with my partner and I love that. I love to hike. I swim regularly 3 to 4 times a week just to get my body moving, and I just love being in the water. If I can be in the water that's not a lake or the ocean, then I'm happy. I also really love to cook, and I love trying out new recipes, specifically coffee syrups and coffee recipes, and coming up with fun things like that. I really love to play Stardew Valley. Stardew Valley is a big de-stressor for me. I can kind of lose myself in my farm with my goats and making cheese, and it's just, oh, I just love it. If I didn't do this, I would be a farmer. And then I regularly play Dungeons and Dragons. I'm a big nerd. What can I say? I've been playing Dungeons and Dragons for about, oh gosh, wait, 11 years now? Wow. I got started in college, and my partner introduced me to D&D and just kind of fell in love with the storytelling and the adventure and being this character. And I tend to play charisma-based characters, so lots of bards. Love playing a paladin. That's really fun. I always end up playing the kind of character who would rather talk her way out of a situation rather than fight her way out of a situation. So my D&D party doesn't tend to enjoy when I do that. They're more like, well, let's just unalive them all. And I'm like, we don't have to do that. We can talk to the ancient tree. It'll be fine. What are some challenges you face in your business? Well, self-doubt is actually a big one. What a great way to answer that question. But it's true though. As a small business owner who's been doing this for a couple of years by herself, it can sometimes feel like because I'm making all of these decisions by myself, I I don't really have a good sounding board of, a partner in the business or an employee or something that we can like collaborate and work together. And so a lot of times I'm worried that I'm doing something wrong, that I'm making a bad decision for my business. Is this even the right thing? Do people even care about this? Do people even want to hear me talk? YouTube is actually one of those things where it's really scary to put yourself out there. And do people even want to hear me sit in front of my wall and talk about myself for way too long? The answer is yes. Yes. Some people really do care and they want to know and they're interested. That's why I've been getting all these questions, because you guys want to know about some of this stuff. And I love this business and I'm always happy to talk about it, happy to share that with people. But there are days when I wonder if I'm even doing the right thing, if I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And that's a tough thing to do. You're alone in your business, and that can be really intimidating. Also, I have ADHD, so prioritizing my work schedule, there's no boss looking over my shoulder to make sure that things are getting done. And so I have to be on top of my posting schedule and my YouTube schedule, my Patreon schedule, my sewing schedule, which is really, I should have said that first. It's the most important thing because these are orders coming in that are paying my bills. But also, these are the orders that I'm sewing all day, every day, nonstop. And if I lose track or if I get behind, then that can be really scary. And so I've had to learn systems to prioritize my business. And it can be really challenging, but also good. I've learned a lot of things that help with my ADHD, that help me stay on task. And I also have an amazing mentor too. If you are a small business owner and you are struggling, trying to figure out, just some advice maybe, or someone that knows business world stuff, finding a business mentor is a huge game changer. That's been a huge help in staying, I don't know, feeling like I'm doing the right thing. It changed a lot of the way that I saw myself and I saw this business. So, mentors. This next question I'm actually combining. So I had, what are some of your goals for the future of Made Marion? And I'm combining that with, what are you most excited about your business? And the answer is, I'm doing something this year that I've never done before. I'm going to be selling at an in-person market, actually multiple in-person markets this spring. And I'm really scared and terrified, but I'm really excited. I think it's going to be great. My first market is actually February 22nd. I'll be selling at the Flora and Fauna Winter Fairy Market in Lexington, South Carolina. There's going to actually be a mini Ren Fair festival at the Friars Gate that I'll be selling at, which I'm like over the moon at, very excited. So excited about getting to like meet people and talk to people right there in front of me, like customers that are, right there, rather than over online getting online orders. So I'm really excited about that. New items, new fabrics, things like that I'm really excited about introducing to the shop, to the things that I make, to my collection, my catalog. I'm also doing limited collection drops this year that I'm really excited about. So there's actually, when this video comes out, there will be a new collection on the 10th that will be dropping. So just in a couple of days from this video being posted. So you can keep an eye out for that. Do you wear the things that you make? Yes, I do. Case in point. Oh no. Hello. Technical difficulties. What was the question? I wear the things that I make. Yes, I do. In fact, I'm wearing them right now. I started this business because I wanted to make things that I would wear. I made them for myself first and foremost, and it just happened to work out well that other people liked them too. Are there any projects that never made it to the shop? That's a really good question. I actually have a whole Patreon video about this. If you'd like to become a Patreon member, you can have access to it in the Heartwood tier if you'd like. If not, no worries. I can tell you I had a velvet cape once that I just couldn't quite figure out the neckline. I just didn't know how to tie it, and I wasn't happy with the solutions I was coming up with, and so it just kind of never made it to the shop. I had a couple of other things too. I had like a faux chainmail dress that never happened, and a couple of other things. There's always something. But in general, I like to try and revisit projects sometimes. So if something doesn't work out, find out what doesn't work and revisit it in the future, try something different. I just think that there's so much potential and so much fun things to do that if it's a project I'm excited about, I'd like to try and go back and fix whatever the problem was. Or maybe it just stays a project that never goes up ever, just stays in my closet. That's okay too. Okay, and last but not least, what was, do I have a brain? What favorite book that you read last year? What was my favorite book from last year? I read some really good ones. I read The Rose Bargain by Sasha Payton Smith. Read The Rose Bargain, really enjoyed it. Very excited about the sequel. I started The 13th Child by Erin A. Craig at the end of the year, and I would like to, I plan to finish it, but I usually read I'm reading a bunch of books at the same time. I am reading The Warrior Cats this year. I did not grow up with the Warrior Cats books, and I'm very excited to be reading them this year. Currently reading the first one. Very exciting. I also read I'll Be Gone in the Dark by Michelle McNamara. Not quite sure how to pronounce that, which is a story about a serial killer, which, as previously stated, big Criminal Minds fan. So it really hit well, and I liked it a lot. It was really well told, really well researched. It was a recommendation from a friend, and just, wow, really, really good book. Couldn't stop reading it. But yeah, no, I've read a lot of really good ones. I tend to DNF a book if I don't really like it. So most of the books I read last year, I really enjoyed. But those are probably my top 3 from last year. And I think that was our last question. So hopefully this video isn't too long. If you have any other questions you'd like me to answer, I can answer them in the comments or over on Instagram, or maybe I'll pepper them into my next video. I'm really excited to be over in YouTube, on the YouTube space. I've been on TikTok and Instagram for a while, and I just opened my website, so I'm not just selling on Etsy anymore. And YouTube is a little scary, but I figured this would be a great way to introduce myself and also just kind of answer some questions from lovely Instagram people. If you enjoyed this and you'd like to see some more stuff, I'd like to have a regular posting schedule of every other week. Patrons get it a whole week early. Thanks so much for listening and sticking around until the end. I really appreciate it. If you're interested in this kind of content, if you're interested in getting a behind the scenes look of a small business owner like myself, a seamstress, a fantasy creator, if you will, feel free to subscribe and follow and like and leave me a comment. Next week on the 10th, there is a new limited collection, the Dusky Fairy collection, that is going to be dropping. I'm so excited. Collections like this allow me to really have fun and play around with fabric, and I really love to do that. So I do about 4 collections a year that'll be like limited special edition fabrics. So I'm really excited about this one. Keep an eye out. There'll be a new video coming soon, probably I think next week, that'll be kind of a breakdown of how this collection came into being. I always enjoy seeing behind the scenes kind of stuff. If that's your thing, then maybe stick around. If not, no worries. And I think that's all I have for today. So thanks for being here, and I'll see you all next time. Bye, friends.